Hello everyone, in this video I'll be demonstrating how to do red team operations on a vulnerable virtual machine called Healthcare. So I have my Oracle VirtualBox running and my terminal on the left side. So let me open a browser and search for vulnhub.com and search the virtual machine Healthcare, and let's click on this first link. And we need to click on the download mirror URL link, which downloads the healthcare.ova file, and then you need to move to Oracle VirtualBox and file import appliance and select the file and select healthcare.ova file, and we can see all the configurations which are loaded, and select generate new MAC addresses and click on finish. I've already imported the appliance, and let's right click and click on settings, and let's go to network and select bridged adapter, and let's select WLAN 0 and promise case model all and click on OK. Let's start the virtual machine, and to get the IP address of the virtual machine we will do an Nmap scan with no port scan, only host discovery. So the virtual machine is running. Let me minimize that. And let me minimize that, and let's do an Nmap scan. So let's do nmap-sn-t5 and the IP address as well as the subnet mask. So before that, how to get the IP address is, let's do if config. Let me clear the screen and let me do if config. And you can see in the WLAN 0 interface, you can see the address of IP address of my machine, and you can see the subnet mask. So the subnet mask is /28. So we have to do 172.20.10.0 and then /28 as the subnet mask. So that is how you will specify it. If it is 255.0, we do /24. If the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, we do /24. Because it's 240, we do /28. And let's do the nmap scan and discover the hosts on the network. So we have specified our IP as well as the subnet mask, and we get 172.20.10.2 as our machine, and the rest of that is our gateway as well as my own IP address. So this is 172.20.10.2 is the IP address of the machine, which is healthcare. Now let's do an nmap scan on all the ports which are open. So on 172.20.10.2, so what I'm doing is I'm scanning all the 65,535 ports with dash b dash and dash dash open to get the open ports, and the min rate as 4,000, and save it in an nmap format, and the file name is healthcare.nmap, and specify our target IP address, and click enter, hit enter. So we get two ports which are open, which is FTP as well as HTTP. Now let's do another nmap scan, which is for service version as well as default scripts. Let's do stealth scan -ss -sv for service version as well as service detection, and let's do specify the ports as 21 and 80, and we do in output in all format, and we name the file as healthcare, and we give the target IP address, and we hit enter. So the nmap is running, and we find the service version of both of these ports, which is Pro FTPD 1.3.3D and Apache HTTPD 2.2.17. So we find the service version. I mean, they might be vulnerable to any of the existing exploits, but we will show an alternate attack method in this video. So let's try to do FTP anonymous login, and let's do anonymous and specify any password, and login failed, login incorrect. So let's exit out of this. Let's try another username and password, which is FTP, and let's see. Okay, it's login failed again. Let's exit out of that as well. So now let's go to port 80 and do some reconnaissance on that. So let me open up a browser and let's do 172.20.10.2, and you see this IP address, and let's do robots.txt. So nothing, anything of our interest here. So we exclude that out of reconnaissance, and it's just a static website, and we see the source code. We did not find any credentials here. Let me close that, and this appears to be a static website. So essentially now what we can do is we can do a buster on this. So let me type buster and let's hit enter, and the buster wizard is displayed on the screen. And let's type in http colon double slash 172.20.10.2, which is our IP, and let's increase the number of threads, and let's select our word list, which is user. So let me show that again. So this is the word list which will be brute forced against, and so let's select our word list, which is user, which comes from root. So we need to go to user and share and seclist. So it is user share seclist, and let's select discovery and DNS, and let's select this subdomain.txt file, and let's not do a recursive, and let's not look for files. Let's do only for directories, and let's start it. So this will brute force for all the sub not subdomains, for all the directories and subdirectories which exist. And so as you can see, this is a static website. There's not much to be done. Let's do a subscribe and see whether anything is happening. So nothing happens when we subscribe. So these are all the standard directories which exist, and we are looking for any of the directories which are not common, and we have to wait for some more time. So gitweb, we found a directory called gitweb. Let's check what's in that particular file, and we click on gitweb and copy the URL, and we go to the browser, and yeah, we go to the browser and paste the URL. Sorry, I pasted something else. So let's do http colon double slash 172.20.10.2 and slash git web, and we get access forbidden. Let's search for OpenEMR. So we get this website, which is OpenEMR, and we get a login page. Let's search for any of the public exploits which already exists, and let's do exploit after the software version and then exploit. We search that in Google and we find this exploit DB page where we find SQL injection, which is blind SQLi, and we can directly run this exploit, but we'll do a manual exploitation. So this is the vulnerable URL. So we'll just copy this vulnerable URL and paste it in. If you can see the website. So let's try default password such as admin, or let's try an SQL injection bypass, which is admin or 1 equal to 1. And let's type in the password and let's do login. And we get incorrect username or password, and let's open up burp suite and try to test this blind SQL injection. So we can see this methods, right? It's trying to exploit this blind SQL injection vulnerability. And now what we can do is we can open burp suite. Let's close this, and let's uh, let's close this as well, and let's open up burp suite. So we'll switch our proxy to burp proxy, and we use Foxy proxy for this. Let's wait for a few seconds for the burp suite to load, and let's switch the proxy. So what burp suite is it's kind of a proxy between your web browser as well as the server. When you hit any request, it goes to the proxy first and then requests to the web server. And when the web server responds, it will go to the proxy again, and it will be intercepted by the proxy. It's kind of a man in the middle attack. So our burp suite is loading, and we are using Community Edition. And let's click on next and start burp. So burp is not responding, and we might need to restart it. So I'm just clicking everywhere, and I'm trying to close it, but burp is not responding. So yeah, let me try to close that. And so let me close burp, and Let me restart it. Let me open burp suite again, and we click on next, next, start burp. Yes, now I think burp suite is loaded, and we can see all the tabs which are there, which is dashboard, target, proxy, intruder, repeater, collaborator, sequencer, and decoder. So let's go to proxy. Let's go to proxy and let's click on HTTP history. So it shows all the requests and responses here. So let me refresh that and let me type admin and admin. Let me try to log in, and we get this with the parameters. So we have a parameter which is admin. Let me search for that. So we have all this request and response. So get request and response. So yeah, so this get request is might be vulnerable to SQL injection because that is what we saw in the public exploit. So yeah, this one which with the admin, this get request, particular get request is vulnerable to SQL injection. Let me send that to repeater to test further. And we can see from the public exploit, right? Over here we can see the same URL which is vulnerable, the same parameter and the URL which is vulnerable. And so let me test that using single quotes. So it's an SQL injection vulnerability with the parameter u which is vulnerable. And let me hit single quotes and test whether an error message will be popped up in the response. So yes, we get an error message. And yeah, so this is the particular error message which we got. So we get the entire query string which is there when we give single quotes. And let's go back to admin, and we get in the response as 1. Let's try to do or 1 equal to and 1 equal to 1 because we're trying for boolean blind uh, injection. So let's send that, and we get 1 in the response, and we try to do 1 equal to 2, and so we do not get that particular string in the response. So it's confirmed that it is vulnerable to boolean blind based injection. And let me copy this request, and let me save it as request.txt or req.txt. Let's edit that file and let's paste it and let's save it. Now let's run sqlmap dash r for to specify the request.txt file, which is our burp http request, and uh, double hyphen batch to specify all the particular wizards to specify all the particular wizards taken automatically, and dash pu to get the parameter which is vulnerable, which is the parameter u. And we get all these kind of SQL injection vulnerabilities which exist in the particular request. Now what we can do is essentially we can enumerate for databases by specifying double dash dbs, and we get 3 databases which are information schema, OpenEMR, and test. We want to further enumerate OpenEMR, and we specify OpenEMR, and we give double dash tables to enumerate the tables, and we find users. We find a lot of tables here, and we need to get the data from users table, and we specify that with dash t users and double dash dump to dump all the database information which is stored in tables. Now we can see we got the credentials. So we found two credentials, which is admin and the password as Akbar, and for the user medical, we found the user as medical as well. Let me copy that and save it as a file called creds. So let's do nano creds, and let me copy the username, and let me copy the password and the other username and password. Let me cut these two lines and let me save it. So let's do cat creds, and we find the credentials here. So we had FTP login. If we had SSH, we would have to do an SSH login. So let's try admin and Akbar. So login failed. Let me exit out of this FTP and let me clear the screen and type in FTP space IP address, and let's do medical as the username and password as medical, and we're logged in successfully. So now what we can do is we'll try to do well. So we know that the FTP is readable. Let's try to do whether FTP is writable. Let's create a file called check writable. So let's spin up another terminal and let's do nano check writable, check underscore writable, and let's type in anything like hello or hello world, and let's save it, and let's do a put check write underscore writable, and the transfer complete. So the FTP share is writable. So essentially what we can do is we can go to var html to see if this folder is writable as well. Let's do ls, let's play the screen, let's do ls again, and cd open emr. Yes, and let's see what's there in that OpenEMR file folder, and we can see all these files which are there, the PHP files of the website itself. And now what we can do is we can create a PHP reverse shell and upload it in the var html OpenEMR directory so that it is stored as a web shell or a backdoor, and then gain access to that web shell or backdoor. So let me close burp and let's search for revshells.com. So the website is https colon double slash revshells.com, and we have specified our IP address, which is 172.20.10.13. And let's me type for the payload reverse shell type as PHP, and let me change the port as 1234, and we'll take this I1 signet or pentest monkey. We can copy this pentest monkey uh, PHP reverse shell, and let's do nano sysinfo.php or system.php. Let me do sysinfo .php. Yeah, and we paste our reverse shell, and Now what we do is we start a netcat listener on port 1234 essentially, and let's first put this file in the web root directory, and let's do put sysinfo.php, and the file is transferred and we can see our file here. So sysinfo.php is transferred successfully, and now what we can do is we can disable our firewall. So let me type in my password. So firewall stopped, and let's do netcat dash nlvp 1234 to start our netcat listener, and let's trigger the reverse shell using curl command, or you can just visit this in your browser as well. So instead of revshell.php, we'll do sysinfo.php. So this is how to specify the particular URL of the reverse shell, and we get a shell successfully. So let's switch user to medical by su-medical, and let's type in the password, and we switch successfully to medical. Let's do which Python. So it suggests user bin Python, and let's do Python dash C. Let's upgrade our shell. Let's stabilize our shell using import pty and pty.spawn slash bin slash bash. And now let's do Control Z to background it, and stty raw hyphen echo semicolon foreground to do it as foreground, and then reset, and then terminal type is screen, and export term is equal to xterm. So these are all the essential steps to stabilize a shell and get a terminal TTY shell. So now for the privilege escalation part, let's do sudo dash L to see sudo abusable misconfigured binaries, and not found, sudo command not found. Let's do ls, and let's do find slash. So we are checking for SUID and SGID binaries. Let's do find slash dash perm dash 4000, and let's do 2 greater than slash dev slash null to redirect it to uh, null file, and to redirect the standard error to null file, and let's hit enter. So we are checking for SUID binaries. So select this, so we can see that there is a SUID binary called healthcheck. So this healthcheck is not a standard Linux binary, so we do strings on this particular binary to see what's happening, and we find this commands, and we find if config command as well as fdisk. So fdisk command is specified without any absolute path. It has a relative path. So what we can do is we can do a path hijacking and create our own fdisk file and get root access from that. So that is what we will do. We'll do echo slash bin slash bash into fdisk. So we create our own fdisk file. It will spin up a bash shell for us, and we have a fdisk file. We'll do change mod plus x fdisk file. So we give executable permissions to fdisk file, and we can check that fdisk file. So it has executable permissions set, and now essentially what we need to do is we need to do present working directory, and we do export path is equal to slash home slash medical. So we're doing a path hijacking attack, and we specify first our we first specify our path, and then we specify the dollar path variable. And if you do echo dollar path, we can see that we can see that slash home slash medical is preceding to every other binary. So when the path variable is set like this, the fdisk first is loaded in our home medical folder, and it spins up a root shell. So let's do user slash bin slash health check, health check, and let's hit enter, and we get root. So let's do id, and let's do who am I. So it specifies root. Let's do if config. So config not found. Let's do IPA, and IPA not found. Let's do IP config. Maybe not IP config because that's a Windows command. So now we can do IP config. Let's check that as well. So that's a Windows command. Never mind. Let's do IP addr. So let's leave that like that, and let's do ID. Let's do ls, and let's do cd slash root to reach our root directory, and let's do ls. Let's do cat root.txt, and we got the flag. So this is the flag for this particular healthcare box, and that is the root hash. So essentially we escalated our privileges to root, and let's go to our methodology.txt. Let's do cat methodology.txt. Let me do nano methodology.txt. So let me check what was the directory name, right, in the FTP share. Let's go to this FTP share, and so I can't find that. So let's do cd slash var slash www slash html. So it's www slash html, and let's do ls, and that's OpenEMR. I had misspelled it as OpenEMS. So let me change that OpenEMR over here and over here as well in the var www html. So OpenEMR, and essentially what we did was we did a reconnaissance at the beginning, and we did active information gathering using nmap scan, which revealed port 21 as well as 80 open, and we tried to do an FTP anonymous login, which was disabled. Then we went to HTTP website and found the directory called OpenEMR, and visiting we got a login page, and we tried to perform SQL injection and got the creds. Then for the initial access, so we did SQL injection using sqlmap and got the creds. So for the initial access, we logged into FTP using those credentials, and FTP was writable, so we got a PHP reverse shell and uploaded under var www html openemr, and started a netcat listener and got the shell. After we got the shell, we did a privilege escalation. We searched for SUID binaries and found a custom binary and performed strings to know what the file was doing, and created a custom fdisk file and performed path hijacking to escalate to root privileges. So this was our attack path, and thank you for watching till now, and see you on the next video. So we got the flag as well. So we got a nice flag at the end, and that's it for now. Watch my other videos on this channel, and thank you.